Hey guys, it's me, YayaDiamond. What's up, peoples? How you doing? It is a great day, and I'm so very excited to be here. And I know I said that 100,000 times. I don't even know how many times I've said that, but I'm so used to saying it because it is the truth. I am very, very excited to be here. Very, very excited to have my next author on the show. And she has this. She has. I know her. I know her. It's just it's a pleasure to bring people on the show that I know, because when I know a person, I can actually vouch for their character. I can vouch for a whole bunch of things, and I can vouch for her. Elfie, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm so happy for you.
Thanks.
So, I wanted to go into, like, who are you? Like, what is it that makes your journey so special? And a lot of people don't realize it, but I do. But for the people who don't know you, please tell us.
So I'm Elfie. I've been on the planet for 6 decades now, and I am a lover of life and a student of life. Actually, when people say, "What did you study?" It's I study life ongoingly. And one of the important things, one of the ways that I'm able to do that is I was a New York City tour guide, and that's an amazing and wonderful way to study myself and others using my German, my English, my Spanish, my multilingual, and my
Hmm.
communication status. I also, well, I escaped the corporate world to become a tour guide so that I could have different experiences. And inside of that, I had some more pleasant, some less pleasant experiences, meaning specifically personal experiences.
Hmm.
Those I don't know if you want me to talk about those now or
Well, no,
later.
not yet, not yet.
Oh, okay.
I mean, okay, so Elfie, you are a dancer. You get on that dance floor and you shake your tail feather like there's no tomorrow. And I absolutely love it. But I mean, a lot of people don't realize that you're a double amputee. What happened?
Actually single.
You're single. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
It's
I
just weird.
had injury
Okay.
to I had severe injury to my second leg.
Okay, so you're second. Okay. So tell me about that. Tell me what happened.
Well, that was 40 years ago. Was involved in a traumatic accident, which resulted in the amputation of my left leg. So I was hit by a car,
Mm,
and the result of that was obviously years of physical therapy, years of relearning how to walk, to move, to adapt to things that you had done before besides walking.
mm-hmm.
And one of is swimming, for example, or riding a bike. Those were things that were important to me. The dancing part came later. That's when I found the joy part. That's when I decided to expand. Well, I like to listen to music, but then I thought, well, I can dance, and so I hear Yaya, and well, it's all over. Makes me want to dance.
It's good. Sorry, I wrote I miswrote this that you were double, but you're single. But I mean, I don't even pay attention to these things because all I pay attention to is your joy and how happy you are when you go out, and you always bring somebody with you, always have a friend, and it's just such a pleasure to see you. And I'm just so happy for you. You've gone through a lot of stuff in your life, so you've been raised in a harsh fundamentalist family, and you kind of gained your independence at 18 years old. You moved on. You got your attitude, you got your resilience going on, and you got, like, okay, so you've done activities like the trapeze, skydiving.
Yeah, yeah. Those were is part of my journey to healing after the amputation. Once I was able to do the basic things I wanted to do and get back into my life, get back to work, get back to uh, get back to life, how I defined it. One of the things that I was able to do that was important to me, that's the
Mm,
thing, was to try activities, to do adventure. That's kind of where I'm interested. So flying trapeze was actually an interesting experience because I had to adjust between having my prosthesis on, between having my prosthesis off, how that felt, how to educate other people on how to accommodate what I needed, which is climbing up steps a rope ladder, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other piece is once I got up there, I needed to take off my prosthesis. I'm a below the knee amputee, so I have my knee,
Mm-hmm.
and that is how I was able to hook around the ropes to do the flying trapeze. Um, the skydiving, gosh, that was a
Okay, you okay.
yeah.
I don't know. I don't think I can ever jump out of a perfectly fine plane. I mean, if it's falling, then we might consider that, you know.
Well,
But
the thing is,
tell
there's
me about this.
parasailing. Yeah, there's parasailing, which is you're under the parachute in effect. The reason for skydiving and the reason I wanted to do it was because for the free fall. You're free falling for 2,000 feet. And the exhilaration that one feels with that is just, it's 2 minutes of your life that just zip by. You're at 125 miles, actually, about 120 miles an hour. The thing that was important for me about the skydiving that I enjoyed, the reason to do it, I had to to be sure that my prosthesis wasn't going to be disconnected or fall off midair. So I taped it on tightly to my body. I did not want to lose it over the skies of wherever I was skydiving, and that was part of the reason how to adapt for me, how to have fun, adventure. It was part of my healing process. It was. So
Wow.
it's you're ready, set, and then
No.
go. And
No.
I did jump with a tandem instructor. There was an instructor attached to
Uh-huh.
me, but that feeling of just being free is why I did it.
No. 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 I feel free without jumping off a perfectly good plane. I feel real free. I'm free. I'm free. I feel free. Elfie, I don't know about you, girl. You went rock climbing? Come on.
Well, the thing is that there was a series of orthopedic experiences I had, adventures I had, which included, like I said, the swimming, the parasailing, the skydiving, the what was the other one I forgot? Skydiving. Anyway, um,
You got
the,
adventure, girl. You
yeah,
got
I
that.
like I like air adventure. That's kind of what it boils down to. Don't Not scuba diving, can't do that. But air adventure is what I enjoyed. And the thing that happened that got me to the rock climbing, which is part of a subsequent chapter actually in my life, many years after the amputation, that is when I noticed that I had a canker sore on my tongue,
Hmm.
and there's I guess we can fast forward. The synopsized version is that I was diagnosed with tongue cancer back in
Yes.
2020 and needed to have several tongue cancer surgeries to remove the cancer that was on my tongue, and also go through radiation, neck dissection, just to be sure to clear it from my system. That is the goal.
Hmm.
And I wasn't feeling powerful. I wasn't feeling like myself for a while. And once I one of the things I started thinking about was how, when I regained my strength, because it was the energy and stamina that I was missing during that period of time. One that started coming back for me in my mind, I thought I really would love to go rock climbing, because that would be the ultimate test. Not post amputation. That would be the ultimate test for me to see if my strength had returned. After my cancer surgeries.
Wow.
And so that was a big challenge. That was a big challenge of strength. It was also just it was a symbolic climb. It was indoor climbing. I did not go and scale boulders. I'm
Uh-huh.
not interested in that. But the inside climb really, really showed me on a level of having the physical strength to climb, to move to the next level, but there's no plan involved. You cannot plan it. I'm a planner by nature, right? I'm a tour guide. We plan things to the minute. Things have to go smoothly or we need a backup plan. And with rock
Mhm.
climbing, you do not have that. You move 2 4 steps forward, but realize that you can't get to the next rung, you can't get to the next step. So sometimes it's actually 1 step forward, 2 steps back,
Mm.
and that is just really a it's just an image for life. For my life anyway, where you're plodding forward and you're plotting your path, but you can't necessarily follow the way that you thought you wanted to go. So rock climbing did challenge me as an amputee, with my prosthesis, placing it appropriately so that I don't fall. But
Mhm.
also it challenged that the upper body strength. And the way that I thought I would do it is not the way I did it. It was really interesting. Um, I thought you have to be flush up against the wall to get the ultimate power from your arms.
Mhm.
And well, how did I learn this? I had an amazing instructor who worked with me during that time. I think I went twice, and he was just amazing. It was adaptive, it was adaptive in nature, and he adapted, in other words, for amputees. He was there to assist.
Nice. I think that's kind of cool to do stuff like that that maybe challenges you. I like to be challenged. I don't like to be crazy, but I do like to be challenged. And I think that that is really cool. I think what you've done is really, really amazing. What was it like for you, though, once you got your cancer diagnosis and you saw this little bump on your tongue and you was like, huh? What made you go and get that checked out?
Well, I had delayed reaction and I was in big denial. I went to the dentists, I went to the oral surgeons in my life, and they all just thought that the tooth needed to be filed down. So I did that, and the sore did not go away. And then over time, and so I was diagnosed in 2020, but this had been going on prior to 2020,
Hmm.
probably for several years. And what ultimately happened is that the top of the left side of my tongue looked like it had been razored, like a razor had been sliced across it. So I started having difficulty eating textured foods, flavored foods, and then I got to the point where I could only ingest liquid foods with a straw. And like I said, the denial hit me square on the forehead, and I needed to see an ENT surgeon.
Hmm. Mm, mm, mm.
That's what prompted that
Wow.
necessity.
Yeah, you gotta eat. You gotta eat. My gosh. And so like, how did this, I mean, when this happened to you and you kind of went in and you got everything and you got the diagnosis and everything, could you talk?
I was able to speak during, up until I got the diagnosis. One of the major, actually, probably the major question that I asked my surgeon. The first surgery I thought was my get out of jail free card. I thought the cancer was gone, and I went on my merry way, hopping and skipping. The cancer was not eradicated with that first surgery, so that's when I had to go back and have a conversation with another world renowned surgeon. And the thing the thing about that was, what was your question again?
Could you could you talk? Could you, I mean, what was it like? I mean, I can imagine, I mean, the implications of you not being able to eat, the razor like feel on your tongue, the scraping. I mean, did it make it difficult for you to talk? I mean, and you were saying like that
Well,
when you went, you could, but what happened?
Well, it was difficult, and that kind of by default, I had to do that first surgery, and finally, like I said, the denial piece. The second surgery, the question at that point, it was harder to talk after the first surgery, but with the second surgery, the surgeon was going to take a series of lymph nodes, and I was also at a different stage. I was stage 2
Hmm.
for tongue cancer. And what I asked him was specifically, will I have comprehensible verbal speech?
Hmm.
That was key for me, because I'm a talker anyway by nature. The line of work
Hmm.
I was doing is is communication. And
Right.
then, when I socialize, when you socialize, you're always talking.
Yeah.
So that was important. He said yes, comprehensible. That was the key word. I did a lot of work with a speech pathologist with my different syllables, sounds, and with the food. The food was its own challenge because the barometer for the speech pathologist and the medical personnel is different than my own barometer. And
Mm.
they had said, because I lost my taste buds
Oh.
and I've only regained a portion of the taste buds, and
Oh.
that's only on the right side of my mouth, right? The left side is the radiation killed that. So one of the things initially, clearly, I only was ingesting liquid foods, and then I began to do soft solids. That was after a period of several months after radiation,
Mhm.
and then in my mind, because I'm a foodie, I love food. I love gourmet food. I love cooking. I love bringing community together. Right? We get together, we talk, we eat. And so I decided that I was going to. Well, basically, I think I assaulted my tongue. I ate and tried as much of everything as I could. Again, this was maybe 9 months after my radiation had concluded, where I just tried to see what was palatable, what was doable, because there's also an issue with the tongue cancer and with any of the mouth and oral cancers. There's an issue with swallowing, and
Mm.
swallowing becomes difficult. The passageways are narrowed. It's different for everyone, but the dysphagia, which is the difficulty swallowing, is an issue. One of the other issues that comes up after radiation is xerostomia, which is your dryness in your mouth. You have no saliva, or you have too much saliva. So I always walk around with a water bottle so that I can always masticate either my food, or if I'm speaking and feeling like I'm choking, that I have something to address that with. So those are issues around food. Initially, I couldn't go out to a restaurant. I also didn't want to go out to a restaurant because I didn't want to make the decision of speaking or eating initially. You can't do both. There's no, I really have to focus, and a lot of us with oral cancers have
Mm.
to focus on how to make sure we don't choke with the food that we're eating. Uh,
Wow. Wow. I never I never, as like someone who's never gone through it would not understand it unless you were to explain it like that. Because we don't know what to I mean, we don't know what it took. But I am so happy for you and so proud of you and so happy to say that you are my friend.
Thank
So,
you so much, Yaya.
oh, thank you. Thank you. And so what inspired you to start that amputee group, that support group that you have?
Well, the amputee support group is that was back before my cancer diagnosis. Actually,
Hmm.
many years before that. There's
Yeah.
there's a really solid informational and educational base that one gets in a support group. And I had, with my amputation, which happened, which was so long ago, there was only one support group that I knew of. And
Hmm.
then subsequently, I found more support, and finding other people who share a similar, not necessarily a left leg amputation or a right leg amputation or an
Right.
arm or amputation, but just who share a similar struggle, who share a similar challenge. That I find that to be, I find support to be essential. I find support to be necessary. And so there wasn't, at that time, there were not enough groups. There were a few, but not enough, in my opinion. And
Mm.
so our friend, fellow amputee, and I just offered the opportunity to meet once a month with like-minded people, to support each other, to share information. And it was a powerful time. It was a really powerful time to explore with others, and to also explore being on the other side, being a facilitator for a group
Hmm.
rather than just participating in a group.
Yeah. I mean, you've gone through so much, and you have so much to offer, and you have so much experience to offer too, because, like we say, if you're going through a situation, find someone who's already been there, done that, to help you through it. Um, the
Link
amputee.
hands, link hands.
That's right. The Being an amputee, what advice? Okay, so I'm going to ask you on two parts. Being an amputee, the advice that you would give a person who's going through that right now, and also a person who's going through tongue cancer, specifically that, because I don't see a lot of people go through that, and I know that there's more people out there that do it. I know there's breast cancer and there's colon cancer, but tongue cancer I haven't seen. So I just want to niche down and make sure people know that is something that you've gone through. What kind of advice on both ends can you give someone if they're getting ready to face what you've already faced?
Well, for one thing, ask the questions that you need to ask of your medical team and of the social worker component. In other words, so you get the logistical, the factual, as well as that you address the emotional components. So that would be before and as well as after. There are lots of, especially now, there's lots of Zoom groups available. Groups don't meet as much in person. Sometimes it's difficult with the amputee component, for people who are just, who do not have a leg yet, who do not have a prosthesis yet, to get physically, to physically get to a group. But support for me, is essential. It's the lifeline. So I would say find yourself others that you can ask questions to, that you can be informed by, that you can, like I said, link hands with for the amputee component, and then, live your life. Do what it is you need to do, find the accommodations. The, Americans with Disabilities Act allows for and dictates, legally what it is that you have the right to be offered to accommodate, whether it's a work situation or whether it's a travel situation, as an amputee. There's also the Amputee Coalition of America, and that's the national group. So if you go to the amputee, thing is amputee_coalition.org, that's a powerful resource. There's information there, there's peer support. That was one of the things I did before I started the group. I was on a list of people to visit others in hospitals that were amputees or newly amputated that wanted to talk to someone and ask questions. And that was something I did before that, which was also very powerful because when I first became the amputee, that didn't exist. 40 years ago, I knew one amputee, and that was the physical therapist. And it wasn't the same. So that's from the amputation perspective, seek the support, and you can find it online. And you can also find it with the amputeecoalition.org. With respect to the cancer, there's global cancer groups, which are important to me, as well as specific mouth cancer, head and neck cancer groups that are available. And I really focus on the support group components a lot, because what the medical team does is what they're supposed to do. What the surgical team does is what they're supposed to do. But there's a psychological, there's a psychic, there's a psychosocial, a psychosexual. I mean, there are so many aspects to, and social aspects to the mouth and the mouth cancers, the head and neck cancers, and then specifically the tongue cancer. So I would say with that, there's a group, there's a tongue cancer group. It's the Young Tongues, cancer group. That's a specific group for people like me that is invaluable, that I searched for, found. And it's, the statistics are on the rise, even though I never knew of tongue cancer, oral cancer before I was diagnosed, did not know. But the statistics are on the rise, and we're unclear as to why and what it is. The surgeons will say tobacco and alcohol. Those are the things that they offer. But I do not believe, based on what I'm seeing in the statistics, that That's entirely true because otherwise everyone who drinks and everyone who smokes would have an oral cancer, and they don't.
Exactly. And not
Ridiculous.
everybody drinks and not everybody smokes.
And also there's a much younger demographic, that of people now that are being diagnosed with oral cancers. So I mean, and all kinds of mouth cancers. There are myriad, which I did not know. But
Mm,
you can look it up, and like I said, the statistics are on the rise, so it's not something that's necessarily going away. It's something that we have to deal with, focus on, and invite others. And by invite others, what I mean is educate others when
right.
you meet them. People who don't know, which is why I love to talk about, now that I have a voice, that and my speech is comprehensible. As the surgeon said, he was right. So he did his part, I did my part, and the I mean, there's a daily component to maintaining my ability to speak. In other words, may I explain? It's there are certain foods that don't work for me, and possibly and probably for others as well.
Yeah.
So for me, coffee is not a good thing. It's very acidic. So before I do an interview, before I do a day long of if I'm meeting friends for lunch or dinner, I don't drink coffee because it makes it much more difficult to
Mm,
speak when I have coffee. That's just me. Different survivors will tell you different foods that perhaps affect their ability, but for me, it's anything acidic, tomato sauce, chocolate, all
uh-huh.
those things that sometimes I override, but there are
All the
decisions
good stuff.
yeah, and
All
it's
the good
decisions
stuff.
I have to make every day,
Yeah.
on what to eat based on what is required of me, yeah, in my life.
Yeah. Definitely. You know what? I think that you're an amazing person. I think you're adventurous. Definitely more adventurous than I am. And I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. Won't do it. I'm good. I can watch you do it though.
Hey, let's not say we did.
You know what? I'm off of that. Definitely off of that. Well, the book is called Unleashing the Courageous Feminine, and you have your chapter in that book. And I congratulate you so much for doing that. Are you considering maybe writing your own book now?
Well, interesting. The connector, the connected dots to participating in this project was the precursor, was really the tongue cancer and the concern that I had that I was not going to be able to speak. And so in my mind, I had that I wanted to write my story. I write on my own for myself. I haven't written for the general public. And shortly after I completed, it's probably a few months after I completed radiation, I came across this project, which I was invited to participate in, which was, for courageous women. I'm going to show
Hmm.
you the book, which
Yeah.
matches what's on the screen. It's Unleashing the Courageous Feminine, and it's stories. It's 13 stories of courageous women, all courageous in different ways, whether it be, cancer or, domestic violence or incest or amputees. And my chapter, I'm going to show you. My chapter is
Right.
Unstoppable Elfie. Unstoppable Elfie, a journey of choice and resilience. And that part, the choice piece, was because when I had my amputation, that evening of my surgery, I was in a liminal space. I was in this space and I saw a dark room. It was closed. There was nobody in it. And then I saw in this, I guess, out of body, in this liminal space, I saw a room with light. And it was very active, and there were people, and there was dancing, and it was music, and it was loud, it was boisterous, it was teeming with energy and life. And after seeing those in my mind's eye, I clearly heard a voice that said, choose. And I chose life. it
Mm.
was, choose life or choose, well, life was the bright light active room.
Yeah.
So that informed me. That informed me from then to live life. Fast forward to the opportunity to participate by writing about my life
Yeah.
in this book. And so it was a 6 month project. It was released in April. Our book was released in April. And it gave me the opportunity to explore, well, what it was that got me from, my fundamentalist, family, which was very repressive and was a very cruel environment that I grew up in, to, taking charge of my life, period, and then taking charge of my life again after the amputation,
Yeah.
having my adventures, and then being like walking into the tongue cancer component, which was absolutely devastating, out of left field, unexpected, and I didn't know what to do with that. Hence the name of the title, Unstoppable, Elfie. Will
Def-
I write a book? I don't know. Right now, I am marinating. I'm marinating in the beauty of what is, and the ability and the gifts that I was given to share my story in the book. So
yeah.
we'll see. I don't know.
That's amazing. Well, thank you, Elfie, for being on the show. I appreciate it. You guys, I'm going to have all that information about the book in the description so that you guys can go and check it out for yourselves. And Elfie, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Yaya. Go read Unleashing the Divine
Definitely.
Feminine. Unleashing the Courageous Feminine, not the Divine Feminine. That's another book.
We're going to make sure that that says it what it says. All right, guys.
Thank you so much, Yaya.
No problem. Anytime. Until next time, guys, don't forget to dare to be different. Bye. Thank you for watching.